Hi, it's Lynne with softsquares. Today I'm going to do block 5 from the Wildflower Seeds Quilt along Block of the Month program through RebsFabStash. It is a monthly subscription for quilters, and it is a block of the month that they have been doing. And so let's put it together. It's actually this one right here. Thanks for being here today. I am finally getting around to doing this block. Have you ever been so organized that you put things away and you can't find it? Well, I did that. So this pattern was given to us at the beginning of this project, and we are now on month 5. So I've had it for 5 months, 6 months now, because the 6th month has come out. Anyway, I could not find it. And so what they did is they sent out the pattern. Let's see if I can put my hands on it. Hold on. Okay, so each month RebsFabStash sends out a part of this quilt. Now we are making a smaller version of that one. It's actually going to look like this. So as you can see from the pattern, it is about half the size. So just a small one, nice little block of the month project. But anyway, this came out the first month, but each month when they send the fabric, they send it out this way. So it comes here showing you what it is, and then there's a nice list of any special instructions that you may need. Now, this pattern is written in a way that when it's telling you to cut out your pieces, it's telling you to cut it out for as many blocks as there are in here, which is roughly 4 per block style. Now our quilt is a lot smaller, so they've adapted the pattern for what we are using. And so even though I couldn't find my pattern, there was enough information that came with my fabric that I knew how to cut it out with this. So anyway, I cut my pieces out, I put them in little baggies, I labeled them A, B, C, and D because this particular block, as you can see, has 4 flowers and they're all different. I was thinking that at least the 2 blue ones were the same. I lied, they're not. But this is what it looks like when it's all done. So I'm going to show you the process of how I put it together. One thing I do want to point out is this block and this block, even though they are similar, they're not exactly the same. So you want to make sure you follow the instructions, but they have Y seams. And so in the instructions, she's really good at giving you like these visual how to lay it together and make your sections. And I kind of didn't pay attention to it the first time I did it because I knew what to do with the Y seam. So on block B, I actually did it more the traditional way. When I got to block C and I looked closer at the instructions, it's like, oh, this makes even more sense because it has you put it together in sections and there's no Y seam. So in case you're curious how to work with Y seams, you're going to see that when I put this block together, but you won't see it with this one. Similar block, still slightly different, but I use different techniques to assemble them. So let's build this block. So Wildflower Seeds is a pattern that is put together by Seriously I Think It Needs Stitches by Kelli Fannin Quilt Designs. You can order this independent through Rebs/FabStash. It is also not exclusive to them, so you could probably even order it directly from Seriously I Think It Needs Stitches or other places. But the nice thing is it has a lot of information. So you're putting together individual blocks. So we got these 5 different blocks, and then there's also sashing. So as you can see by what's on the wall behind us, I've actually got my cornerstones in because that is block 6, and I've already made the video for that, which is why these are already up. But this is a 9 patch, the way they have put this together, right? Now they did say that they had additional kits if you want to make 3 more blocks to make it a 12 patch, which would be more of a rectangle size. I actually like the idea of making it a little bit bigger, but to be honest, this is a lot of little piecing and I'm kind of just excited to get done with it. So I didn't make the extra blocks yet. I still have time to decide on that. But in the Cornerstone project, which is block 6 or month 6, it tells you make 16 cornerstones for your 9 patch, and there's enough to make 4 more, so you can make 20. So I've actually gone ahead. Oh my goodness. I don't know where I put them. I have 4 extra cornerstones of these. And, you know, instead of doing a separate video, which I've actually already filmed, I just haven't edited it, I don't see the point in doing that. So I'm going to combine it in here, because really all it is, the cornerstones, is a 9 patch. Super, super easy. So the rules to a 9 patch are you need top and bottom row to be the same, and then the middle row to mirror it. And you're going to make strip sets. So just as an example, I'm not going to give you the exact size of this. I can't remember, plus it's not, it's in the pattern. But if you use 2-inch strips, when you put your 3 pieces together to make your strip set, so they'll look like this in your strip set, the sets, you're going to cut your strips the same as your original strip when you started. So if you use a 2-inch strip, when you put your strip sets together, you're going to cut them into 2-inch pieces, and then they're going to come out little pieces just like this, but they're the size that you need. So when you add all 3 of your rows, they turn out square. Now this is the only one that has all 4 sides with the seam enclosed. Eventually, when we're all done, they will all be the same, and they're going to be true squares. So the secret is, whatever your strips are, after you make your strip sets, you trim them down to the same size. That's it. And the same rule applies to doing bigger ones, like 16 patches, which is a 4x4. You can go bigger, 5x5. Whatever you use for your strip is the width of the strip when you have the long strips, when you cut it down. I know that might be a little confusing, and I'm so sorry. But that is really all that there is to that. So I might put a little bit of footage from that at the very end of this, but I am going to combine it in with this video. This is block 6, which are the cornerstones, right? And look, there's only 2 colors in there. Anyway, we're going to do a little demonstration. So here's your strip set. We're going to pretend it's 2 inches. I honestly don't remember what it was. But if it's 2 inches, you're going to do 2 green and 1 light to make your first color strip. And then you're going to cut it down. Here's the opposite way, but this is it cut down to the same width as the strip was, which you can see when I overlap this, which is the whole point of what I'm showing you, is when you cut it down, you cut it down to the same thing that you started out with. And press to the dark, and because your rows alternate like this, this is what your back is going to look like. And look how easy that is. The green presses out here, goes in on the middle, and out here. You know what that means? It means your seams are going to nest. It will lay flat. It'll make your points nice and sharp. There you go. Now you know everything about a 9 patch. That's a secret to a 9 patch. So we have got 4 flowers to make that are different, and then we have the strip set, so we're actually doing 5 different things. We've already gone over this one. I've explained what I did with these 2. I will do some commentary on it, but for the most part I am going to speed through it. I do offer a lot of tips on different things, so I will slow it down a little bit, but these really are 4 separate flowers, where all of these individual blocks were 1 flower at a time. So this like took me 4 times as long. You know what I mean? Although there are 2 blocks in each one of these. So 2 of these, 2 of these. I still made 2, but they were the exact same. I'm rambling. Does that make sense? Anyway, I felt like it just took forever to get through this. So I'm going to try to shorten this video so it doesn't feel like it's taking forever for you. So let's get into it. So just follow the instructions in there on how to cut it. I can't really give you information on that because it's not my pattern. It's not a free pattern. But I have already cut everything. Like I said, they gave really good instructions with the fabric. So even though I didn't have this, I could at least get this far. So I love this pattern because it's kind of a sewing by braille, you know. I mean, you just look at it and I can figure it out. So I love the fact that you can see where the pieces are laid out. Now, I didn't do my job and mark the pieces. I get stuck. That happens a lot to me. I'm going to use these pins. I just picked these up last week at a shop hop, and I bought the last one that they had, and I showed it in last week's stitch-uation in my fabric haul. And one person reached out and asked how to get more, and I looked into it, and you know what? You can't unless you go through a distributor. Well, I have a wholesale license, and I was able to get signed up with them, and now I will be adding these to my inventory online. But what's so cool is there's pins numbered 1 through 10 on this side, and then on the other side it's 11 through 20, and they're nice big pins with a big head and a long needle, and the back side's flat. So if you need more, plain. So if you need more than 25, just take a Sharpie and start writing on the back, and you can expand your pack. So anyway, I should be getting these in stock hopefully by the end of next week with the holiday and all that. They weren't sure, but watch for that if this is something that interests you. But I'm going to use this right now, and this is perfect for this project because I need a lot of numbers for all these different things. So I'm going to go back through my cutting instructions and make sure I'm marking things right. So this is A. They're using numbers on these, or letters, not numbers. Okay, I have another plan. You have probably seen these. I love these. These are Lori Holt. Here's a little sneak peek. One of these will be in one of the holiday boxes, box A or B. You'll get this set in there. I love it. So anyway, I've got some that are already open, so I'm going to use that. But I like this because it's multiple stickers, and it has not just the numbers, which I need, but in this case they've used letters, and there's no letters in that. I'm kind of bummed because I wanted to use those. But so I have all these sets of different colors. I'm pretty sure I've got 2 sets in here. There's so many. These instructions are not as easy as I thought, because it says fabric Q is the black center, but there's 2 pieces that you cut out, and it just tells you 2 of this size and 4 of this size, but those are not individually numbered. So I actually have 2 sizes in here. It's pretty obvious when there's only 1 piece of one, but I'm only going to be able to label the colors. So when I get to ones that have more sizes, I'll have to play with that even more. Being organized, you will find it so much easier to just start out right. I am kind of jumping in the middle of this, but I'm not too far along that it's too hard to figure out. But it is hard. A is a really popular letter. Oh, here's another one. There we go. A is my background. I'm doing flower A first. Okay, and then P is this one. And again, I got a whole bunch of different sizes in that. So we'll start with that, and we will see where we go. Now you know snowball is just putting it on the corner, right? Sewing corner to corner and then trimming it. If it were a bigger piece, I would actually go through the process of drawing a line, or in my case, I like to press to make the line with the iron. But again, this is going to work without it. So when we're done, we are going to have this, and then we'll add the black corner, and this side, this particular block will have 4. They'll all have 4 identical, but this will have 3 yellow or 4 yellow. Oh my goodness, yellow on one side, black on the other. This one is just 1 corner with that, and then this one will have 2 of the orange on. making flanges. And then this is our very centerpiece. Let's go to the machine. I have a clear sewing surface. It's from Sew Steady. There's a link in the description below if you're interested in them. They make them for all machines. You just tell them what machine you have, and then they make sure that it is cut the right size for your throat here. And then they have different styles, so you can get bigger ones, smaller ones, different things. So I have this big one for this machine, and then my other machine, my Spiking Sapphire, I ordered just a really small one because it's more my travel, and it is a lot smaller than this, but it's still way bigger than what would be provided with just the utility tray on there. So you can get them in different sizes, and they come even bigger with trays underneath it and blah 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 blah. So anyway, in case you're wondering why you can see through, that's why. Okay, we're going to make 4 of these, and I do not want my 1/4 inch foot on for this. It's gonna create some problems because I'm not sewing along the edge, and that has a lip. So I'll just put this one on. You can pin it, you can clip it. I have this Steady Betty sticker that I love. I'm gonna see if I can figure out where to get more. I'm not even sure where I got this one, but it has all these markings on here, and you put it on any surface. I put mine on the Steady Betty, or the Sew Steady table, but the center line right here lines up with my needle, and I can see on here 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 5/8, 3/4. So if you're doing a seam that you need to keep track of, you can use this as your alignment. Now I'm going to use the center seam line for this, and all that's going to happen is I'm going to start one side, and I can see that this point lines up with that line, and I will be straight. Starting on the very edge is always a challenge. I did okay. There are people that have like, what are they called, leaders and enders or something like that, where it's a small piece of fabric that they put at the every time they sew off of something, so that when they start they don't have this little dilemma like I'm having. But I don't have one of those going on. I don't use those very often, but I agree that they would be handy. So I'm chain stitching, getting all of these done at once, so then I can go back and trim them and press them all at once, and then bring them back for their second side. Another thing that's really good, especially because these are so small and I'm kind of eyeballing between here and here, is you can use washi tape. There are all kinds of washi tape, but there's also this special one right here that actually has the same markings on it, like the Steady Betty, where there's your center line, and then your 1/4 inch, and you just tear it off and put it where you want it. So I'm gonna put this on here and show you. I definitely don't need something that big, and you don't even have to. This is just works because I want to see the center. Although if I wanted to, I could use this or any other type of washi tape and just put it to the side so that I can see the edge of the tape will be that center line. And since this one has the line, I'm going to take advantage of it just because it's kind of cool. So there's all kinds of little sewing aids that help. So again, I'm just following that center line all the way up and over. I've taken long pieces of this and wrapped it around my machine, so I just happen to be combining 2 things right here. preference, I could put this in like this, and so corner to corner following the tape, but I know that there's not much back there for the feed dogs to grab onto, and I'm going to have a problem. And I don't have one of those little leader ender things going on right now. So what I have found when I get in this situation, if I start in the middle and work my way out, I'm good, because there's a lot more fabric up here and it can catch on to it, and we're good. And it's not having any problems. Show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to square this up. It doesn't seem to matter how hard I try. I end up with squares that look like that. Anyway, I'm using, to get my 90 degree, I'm using my line, which I'll use this black one, and then the side of the ruler. So we know this edge is fine because nothing has happened to it to skew it. So I'm just coming over here where there's a 90 degree angle and cutting that off. So that's how I'm doing this without using any lines down there or a 2-inch square. And in some cases, like this one, the yellow is not quite big enough, but there's enough I could ease that into a seam. That happens to me a lot too. I try. Doesn't matter how hard I try. But I know how to fix it. We're good. And this one looks really good. The more square you are at this point, the better and flatter it will come together. Gadget that I love is this. I got it off of Amazon. There's things similar to it on other places, but it is actually used for removing dog hair like off of furniture, but it works way better, especially on your wool mat, than even the wool mat tool, which is this. It has little rough edges to get it, but these teeth just, I don't know, I feel better about it. And that one also might be cutting the mat. It looks pretty sharp, and I just want to take the top layer of it and all the fuzz. Now I fixed all my little mess there. Now I want my 1/4-inch foot. So I'm going to sew these two together, and I want this one on top because I have all the seams. That makes it easier. So anytime I have seams, I try to pick the one that has the most troubling ones to be on top. kind of finger. If I were to fold this up, it would be really bulky and icky. And it's already naturally wanting to go that way. So get it as flat as you can. That's what's happening with this one and why I know which way to go. Because this doesn't have any seams, I pressed them in this way. It naturally wanted to go that way, and that worked great. Same with this one. These don't have any seams, so I pressed them out. It naturally wanted to go that way. It worked. But then when you pick them up, it's perfect because when you're nesting, your seams are going opposite directions, and it just will lay nice and flat. Did okay, not quite perfect right here, but I'm gonna leave it because it's good enough for me. And with all the little seams that are in there, sometimes it does more damage to unpick just to move it one stitch over. So, and then I'm gonna square this guy up. One down. So I'm going to fast forward through the rest of this because you know the general tips that I've just given you, and you'll be able to visually see how it comes together. So hopefully it's helpful for you. One down. We're going to work on these two and that one. this is different than the other one because we are going to have Y seams because nothing lines up with this. So first thing I'm going to do is make blocks. I'm going to put these three together, these three together, these three, and these three. Okay, then I'm going to have big pieces, and then I'm going to show you how to put this together when you have a seam like this. All of these go back in like this. Okay, this one goes here, and then this is our little leaf down here. The way you put these together, because you notice we're not worried about these just yet, are we? We don't have any lines that are going to go straight down. So the trick to doing this is partial seams, but they're really easy. So first thing I'm going to do, this is going to go right here, and all right, so again, put the little piece on one side, then you have a long strip. Just make sure you don't go all the way over with that. Now everything is long pieces until we get to that very end. So it's okay if these ends don't match up over here because we need to square it up. So I'm doing my best to get them as lined up as I can. But if I have a little extra because I haven't trimmed it down exact, it's okay. Just have it hanging out on the outside, not the inside. Okay, there's block 2. C. I'm seeing something I didn't see on the last block. This might help you. A little bit different way to put this together. I was wondering why she had cut, the pattern creator, cut these into 2 small pieces instead of one that looks like this. Because when you put it together, that's what you get. And I figured out that what it is that way you can have this whole section and this whole section, so you don't have as many seams to do. So I'm going to try to put it together that way and see if that makes a little more sense. Obviously I still have to do a little bit, but not as much. Let's see where this goes. So now I'm going to attach these 2 together. That's easy. And then these 2 together, and then this. That is a really easy way to put this together. block of those 4. Now I'm going to join these 4, put it back up on the wall, and then we're done with the video for this week. And I do think next week we're going to see the next little part of this quilt. So I think at this point I'm going to leave it with just the 9 patches. So that's my plan. Done. All 4 of them are done. So I'm going to put it on the wall. And there it is. So it's on the wall with the cornerstones, all 9 pieces and 16 cornerstones. And this was a pretty time-consuming block because of 4 different patterns. These 2 are not the same, and I showed you 2 different ways to put together when you have Y seams. So there's 2 different ways in there. So B and C are a little bit constructed a little bit differently, but the blocks themselves still are different. Okay, so it's very important that we always press to the dark side because our seams need to nest. So when you're done sewing that strip, press everything to the dark side. See how I've done that? So on the back of these strips you can see the white or the light color is pressed into the dark. And on this one they're pressed away, so it's also onto the dark. Okay, so now we're going to subcut these. Now the width of the strip, whatever width that is that you're working with, will also be the width of your new strip or your new cuts that you're making. So what we're doing is we're going to take the blocks like this and go sew them together, and then we're done. But the nice thing is, again, our seams are offsetting. See this? So when you put your seams together, they're going to nest. Super easy. Hopefully you can see how those are coming together. Okay, so I have sewn those together. Look how nice they nested. Okay, I'm just going to press it open, and then you're going to make a whole bunch of these. So just remember, you need twice as much of the outer block, so whatever is the corners will be your outer strip. Twice as much of that as the other one. And at this point, I don't know that it matters how you press it. I think it wants to press laying open, which also mainly goes to the dark. At this point, there's nothing for it to nest to. There will be some strips in the quilt. It might matter. Let's see. So again, this is the quilt we're working on, and you can't see it yet because they haven't gotten to that point yet, but we're next going to be doing this part. And you see the dashed lines in that sashing? That will line up with the center. So there will be a seam with 3 pieces, a lot like this. So just press them all the same direction and it'll be easy for when you get to the next step. So anyway, that's it. Okay, we're going to make a whole bunch of those and put them to the side and wait for next month. Let me know what you think about this. I think this is fun. This has been a lot of fun. Pretty fabric. I have to say, when I look in the viewfinder, this fabric looks neon. It is a nice, pretty bright light green, but I wouldn't call it neon, so I don't know if it's coming across that way to you or not, but it's kind of funny. So again, all that's left is the sashing and then the border. We'll see what's going on with that. The end. We're done. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. And thanks for hanging out with me today.